Okay, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, everyone, depending on the time you're watching this video. Right, my name is Neo Xiaojin, and I'm here to present on behalf of my group on our innovation titled ACTpro. So ACTpro stands for acting and creating in teaching primary level original sketches. And this is a collaboration between the teachers of SJKC Selat Pagar and SJKC Kaiti. Right, so these are our faces. And let's move on to our presentation. So, what is ACTpro? ACTpro is a student-centered teaching approach that aims to stimulate learning and improve the understanding of a topic through role play in short and fun sketches. Right? Do you know what are sketches? Sketches are short videos. They are short, funny videos that you might often see on YouTube. Right? And they may or may not have a moral value, or maybe they are trying to convey a message in a way that's funny. And usually these videos are not more than 5 minutes long, right? For teachers who might know YouTube channels like College Humor, perhaps you can have a general understanding of what are sketches, right? ACTpro is also a method where we create videos that can be used as teaching materials. So basically, when we create these sketches, right, these videos, we upload them, and we can always reuse these videos as teaching materials. Maybe show them in class as a side introduction, or as a closing to a lesson. All right. So we encourage participation from students of all levels of proficiency. We want to prove that making videos can successfully involve students from all backgrounds. Right. Often, when we think of drama or acting, we always think that we need students that are very proficient, right? Usually because they might have a lot of lines to speak, right? But through ACTpro, we are trying to show that we don't necessarily need students that are very good in English, right? Because for us, we teach in rural schools, more or less lower bandar schools, right? And the level of proficiency isn't that good. Even our best students, they are not as proficient as you might think, and it's usually a challenge if they were to speak lines. But we are trying to prove that even if they are not that good at speaking, they can still act, right? They can still make a video because of the format, right, of the medium that we are trying to do this in. Okay, we want to expose pupils to the video making process and the elements often associated with story writing and literature, such as characters, settings, props, story arcs, and moral values of a story. So through ACTpro, through this method, right, you are indirectly teaching students on the elements associated with story writing, right, like literature, such as characters, settings, and props, right? Like how stories, they have the beginning, and then they have the climax, and then they have the falling action, right? You have characters that develop over time, that maybe they learn something, right? Maybe they were not that good, they were not good people in the beginning, and then they learn something later, right? So ACTpro is a good method in teaching that. We use ACTpro as a student-focused classroom project that aligns well with the modern internet culture, with the hope that we can inspire students to create content by themselves in the future, right? So this is done mainly as a classroom project, as a class activity, right? It's not done during the lesson, this is done outside of class, right? And I feel that ACTpro aligns very well with the modern internet culture, like with how young children nowadays, they want to be YouTubers, and they want to be influencers, they want to be TikTokers, So by participating in this, in ACTpro, in the video making process, maybe they will be inspired, or maybe they will learn how to create content by themselves in the future, and hopefully in English. Right? We make the videos with topics based on the curriculum. Right? Our videos are designed to be fun, with the messages implicit as to provoke responses from pupils when shown in class. Right, so when you show a video that is made by ACTpro, right, one of our videos, right, it's designed in a way where you can just ask the students after showing the video, like, oh, what do you think? What do you feel? Do you think this character? Do you think what this character did was right? Right. So the moral values they aren't exactly in your face, right? So when we make ACTpro, we do it knowing that our audience can think, right? So later on, after this presentation, if you would go check out the videos that we have done, maybe you can understand that what we are talking about. All right. Okay. So how ACTpro came to be, right? This is a brief background, a brief history on our innovation, right? So our students are poor in English, with the weakest having very little interest in the language, mainly because of the lack of English speaking environment. They don't watch English movies, they don't listen to English songs, right? They are in a, they speak mostly Chinese, and everyone around them speaks Chinese, right? And English activities often appear intimidating to them, and we struggle to motivate them to learn, right? We find it difficult to plan activities that engages pupils of varying levels of proficiency, right? Often when we think of activities, we plan one activity, and what we see is that only the students that are the most proficient, or maybe the highest level students, they are the one that excels in the activity. And students that are weaker, they don't really do it, right? They don't really participate, right? So that's what we see. That's our observation, right? So it's a big struggle whenever we try to think of something that can fit everyone, right? Because we want everyone to participate, right? We are not just catering for the top 10%. We want at least 80% of the whole school to be, of our students to be able to participate in the activity. So at the end of 2019, we recorded a graduation video for our year 6 class, right? Sorry, not year 6 student. I think that's a mistake in the PowerPoint, right? So for the year 6 graduation, and after recording the video, we found that acting is something that's very interesting to our students. They like acting, right? Even though they appear shy, but they like the process. Like I said, it's probably because of the modern internet culture, where everyone is watching something and everyone wants to be YouTubers or influencers, right? So in February 2020, that's me, Neo Shojin, I recorded my first video entitled How to Make a Mummy 2024J, right? So this is based on the year 4 textbook, right? That's a unit called In the Past, where they explain a little bit on the mummy making process, how people make mummies last time. So, and I thought that it would be interesting to maybe make a video of it, right? And I've decided to pioneer the use of the short sketch acting method in my school, right? So if you can see the, right, you can see the QR code there. Maybe you can check it out, right? Check the video out before we continue. Okay. All right. So as I have said, while teaching my year 4 English class, right, I decided to make like a just for fun, right? Just a video for fun, a step-by-step video of the mummy creation process, right? Because I got inspired by other teachers as well. Because when I went to YouTube, I found that other English teachers from all over the world, they have made similar videos, right? I can't remember which was the video that originally inspired me, but there were a few. And I thought that, the students, they come out and they speak like, oh, first you have to do this, first you do that, next you have to do that. And I thought that it would be interesting to try to recreate that with some of the students in my class, right? So just to test it out, I chose 3 of my best students, right? Because I didn't know if it could work out if I chose other students, and I wanted a very small team, right? So it would be easier to handle. So, and we made a video, right? If you have seen the video, right? If you have already seen it, then what do you think, right? So after making that video, I decided that, maybe this is something that I would like to do. I would really like to try out in my school. And so I've collaborated with the other teachers, right? Which are the teachers that you have seen in the beginning of the slides, right? Madam Ong, Mr. Henry, Miss Hui Yan, and Miss Junmei, Y Junmei. Right. So through collaboration with other teachers, we have produced 10 other videos, with one of them in collaboration with Unit Pemulihan. So that's in collaboration with Mr. Henry, right? And the video is titled Alat Kawalan Jauh Manusia, right? We just want to test out if maybe this method work for Pemulihan students, basically remedial students, right? The very weak students, and and why don't you watch the video for yourself and you judge it for yourself whether it's effective or not, right? So in the year 2021, after that, I tried turning the English club into a film club, right? Basically, it's like, what's the difference, right? The English club, the English film club, right? And just to train students to record their own videos. Okay, so that's also what ACTpro did. Okay, so the ACTpro process is divided into 3, right? It's very simple actually. So first is the planning stage, right? It's basically preparing the props and writing the story. Now, initially, I wanted to try if my students can plan the story themselves, and I'm just the one doing the recording. But for primary school level, especially in our schools, and for the maturity of our students, that's not possible, right? Because they planned stories that had no ending, and or maybe just a lot of shooting, a lot of things that are just basically they didn't have a beginning or an ending, right? So maybe my students weren't that mature enough yet. So a lot of the planning is done by the teachers, right? Your mileage may vary if you decide to try this in your school. So preparing props. Initially, if you go through the credit session of my first video, right, how to make a mummy, you see that I made my students make their own props, right, like the coffin, the mummy coffins, you know, and things like that. But eventually we found out that it's easier to just save time by buying certain ready-made props from DIY, right? And there are some things that you can just use your imagination. Like in one of the videos, the unicorn's horn, right? I wanted one student to be a queen, right? So how do you portray a queen? So I used I bought a towel actually. I bought a towel, and all she did was she just wore that towel, and that's a queen. So I've found out that like I said, ACTpro is easy, right? The filmmaking process is easy because they are children and they are in school. So you can, and if you are doing things on a budget, you can let the imagination do the work, right? So I find that hats they are very useful, right? So if you play a different character, you wear a different hat, right? So the step number 2 is recording and editing, right? That's where most of the work comes in, right? So we'll choose like one day, yeah, usually just one day. We plan it with the students, right? We call them to come, and it's usually done in the morning because morning has better lighting. Some of our videos were done after school. So the second step is the recording and editing process. So the editing is done by the teachers, right? By me, right? Depending on your creativity or depending on your style, you may edit it differently, right? So step number 3 is the premiere, right? So usually what I do is that after I'm done with it, I'll upload it to my channel, my YouTube channel, and I set it as unlisted, right? And then I'll send it to the students first, all the actors who are involved in the video. And if they are fine, if they're cool with it, then I'll publish it, right? And I'll send it to other people, right? So yeah, from my PowerPoint, right? The pupils are selected and sketch plots are discussed. That was the first one actually. So after that, I didn't really discuss the plots with them because I realized that, like I said, that they weren't that mature enough to plan their own stories. Storyboard is writing by the teacher. The storyboard is shown to the students. Production of props is necessary, right? The video shooting date is specified. Video is recorded. Editing. The video is shown to the students involved, and the video is shown in class, right? Alright, so the videos are shot with my smartphone. So I use a Huawei P20 Pro for my earlier videos, and I changed to an iPhone, right? An iPhone 12 Pro Max because this has very good video quality. So once again, if you decide to take up this approach, right, you may try to use it with like an expensive camera or video editing equipment, right? But like I said, the purpose of ACTpro is that it can be done by any teacher, right, in any school, as long as you have a smartphone camera. And the app that I use is the KineMaster app, or is it KineMaster? Yeah, I call it KineMaster. So the app is 16 ringgit and 90 cents per month. You can have a year subscription, right? But I decide to pay month by month because there are some months where I don't record any video at all, right? And props that I use are items that are brought by students from home. So rather than make things with cardboard, you can just bring the real thing. Use Realia, right? Okay. So I think if you decide to take on ACTpro as a teaching method, it should be very easy, I think. And depending on your school, once again, like I said, depending on your school and the proficiency of the students, your mileage may vary by a lot. Okay. So how did ACTpro impact our self-practice? Well, we became more skilled in the video recording techniques, especially the use of various types of shots. If you went ahead and look at our earlier videos, right, you'll notice that the camera is static and the scenes happen in front. That was because we weren't that good at the video recording techniques, right? We weren't that good at like pans and zooms compared to our later videos where we do a lot more. There's a lot more movement, right, and a lot more creative cuts. And I think that our videos have definitely gotten better over time. We also became more creative when thinking of new ideas to make in the videos, right? So initially, our videos have no story. It's basically just students telling you what to do, like how to make a mummy, stop, drop, and roll. It's mostly like a step-by-step process. What can you recycle, right? But But our later videos, they are more of a story, right? More of an actual sketch, actually, right? Where you have characters, like obvious characters, and you can see that the characters develop from a good person to a bad person, and you can see a story arc, right? And there's moral value at the end of the story. So we have definitely gotten much better in that, in the planning stage, right? Which is actually the most difficult stage, right? And then our relationship, our rapport with our students became better, right? Because this is a class activity that heavily involves both the teachers and the students, right? Both the teachers and the students have to be, we have to contribute, right? Time, energy, right? To make a video, right? To make something like that. And it's not very easy. And because of that, by going through this whole video making process, our relationships definitely became better, right? And finally, the use of video recording became one of our approaches in PDPC and PDPR, right? There are many approaches in teaching, right? You can ask them to make posters, you have games, there are many things. And now ACTpro, right, the video recording is just one of our many approaches that we can now use, that we have learned to use, thanks to ACTpro. Okay, so the impact on students. Among students involved in ACTpro, there were some students who showed very clear changes in interest and self-confidence during in-class and online presentation activities, right? So let me share with you some of them. Lo Jiaqi, right? Year 4, she played characters in 4 videos, right? How to Make a Mummy, Flower Fairies, The Unicorn's Horn, and Captain Boy, right? So she was one of the students that was chosen to act in the first ACTpro video. She's weak to average in proficiency and quite weak in pronunciation. Right? So after ACTpro, all presentations and assignments in PDPC and PDPR were done with excellence, right? Basically in class and during online class, all her presentations were very well done. Even though she still struggles in speaking, but she's doing it with a lot more confidence than before, right? And she received an outstanding prize in the English Creative Video Competition that we organized in my school, right? Like for example, you have Aisha. She participated in 2 videos. Sigbing Fong, he participated in 1 video, so they received outstanding prizes, right? Basically, like the top prizes for our English video competition. Okay, and as you can see, during online class, when teachers give assignments that involve presentations, right, the students become more confident, right? So we think that because they see their friends acting, or because we see their friends doing things like talking in a video, right? They themselves become a little bit more confident, or maybe a little bit more open to speaking in front of a camera, right? So this was all done during the online class teaching period, right, during MCO. And here you can see that Lo Jiaqi, she won an outstanding prize in the English video competition organized by my school. And then you can see a multitude of other entries, right, from other students during for the English creative video competition, right? So that's why, like I said, I was quite surprised, right, where about 25% of students they participated in the video competition, because you would think that in a rural school, right, an English video competition, most students would not want to participate at all. So perhaps, right, this is thanks to ACTpro, thanks to our innovation, that students are now more willing to speak in front of a camera or do assignments that are related to video recording or things like that. And yeah, here you can see a lot of other examples, right? Students work the results during MCO, during PKP, right? Students presentations during PDPR, right? And you can see some of the students were the actors in the ACTpro videos, right? And here is this, our latest video. So this is our latest video. I'm here to promote, right? I'm here to promote and share with you our latest video. It's titled Mom's Day. I'm not exactly that good in thinking of titles, right? I'm not that creative. So please do check it out and like and subscribe if you want more. Because of COVID, because of the restrictions during the pandemic, I'm not sure how often I can make videos like this. But this is definitely something that I'm doing it for the long term. And I hope that my group members, by the way, I'm now transferred to a different school. So my group members were all the English teachers in my previous school. So I hope that they would continue using ACTpro as a method of teaching as well, even when I'm gone, right? And that's it. So what's the conclusion of ACTpro? Right. So ACTpro is an enrichment activity for excellent students and a motivational activity for weak students to encourage them to participate in other English activities, right? So from what you have seen, the English creative video competition was a success, right? Relatively speaking, it's quite a success. And I feel that it's because it's thanks to ACTpro that they were exposed in recording videos and things like that, right? So ACTpro is also a student-focused and a differentiated activity that is carried out as a class project, right? It's a differentiated activity because we can involve students of different proficiencies, right? So so what we do is that we usually pick like 5 or 6 students for one video, and for the next video we'll rotate some of the students out and we'll keep some of the students, right? And then we'll try to involve everyone, right, eventually, right? So that was the idea of ACTpro, right? If it wasn't for COVID restrictions, things would have definitely gone much further than that, right? The videos can be used as teaching materials for future classes. So the videos are there to stay. You can use it for a set induction for a future class, right? And you can use it as a closure or to provoke responses from students. And if carried out continuously, ACTpro trains students to record videos for future assignments, like I said. And if carried out continuously, ACTpro can cultivate the use of video recordings in PDPC and PDPR, basically online class and during in-school class, right? Our videos are uploaded to YouTube, and it has the potential to be widely distributed and disseminated for use by teachers around the world. And that's actually one of our ambitions, that our videos are shared to more people. Maybe perhaps we can inspire more teachers to do the same thing. All right, and that's all. All right, thank you very much. Please do check my videos out.